Moving from one iconic project to the other, we're now going to hear from Ms. Isabel Pintado, who is the Senior Vice President and Managing Director of Wilson Associates. Just so you know, Wilson Associates has worked on several iconic projects, and I'm going to list just a few, and of course Isabel will elaborate. The Regency here in Doha, the Armani Hotel in Dubai, the Park Hyatt Hotel also in Dubai, and many, many others. And when I asked Isabel, what is it that you're going to be speaking about? She told me that it's going to be like a reflection of how she and her firm went about designing these projects, but it's not just a reflection. She's also going to share with us the passion and the vigor and the energy that was put in to drive that project forward and really make it something special. So, Ms. Isabel Pintado, the stage is all yours.
Thank you very much. Let me see, is the presentation here? Just to do a brief introduction, I've worked in the Middle East for 15 years. I've lived in Dubai for all of those 15 years. And what I'm going to reflect today, what I'm going to show, is samples basically of this region. We have offices all around the world, but I thought you're probably most interested in seeing things that we've done over here. Out of all the offices that we have offices in Dallas, which is our headquarters. We have offices in New York, LA, Paris, Dubai. I'm missing some right now. Singapore and Shanghai. All of them are doing work here. The Middle East means for us about 25% of our workload every year. So for us, it's a region that is incredibly important. So what we have done, Dubai is the city that has the biggest concentration of hotels that we've ever done. We've been running for over 40 years, and it's a place that's just been always very, very kind to us. It's given us the opportunities, and it's given us clients. We've come across clients and operators that have allowed us to do incredible projects. So what we try to do, what we focus on, is the luxury segment. Obviously, after listening to some of the chats that we've all listened to today, I have to reconsider this a little and start looking at 3 stars and motels. But for the time being, we've been focusing on luxury. So out of this, what we try to do, every time we approach a project, we don't have a cut and paste method. What we do is we listen to what the client's after, and through their briefs, what we become is sort of storytellers, visual storytellers. We try to always factor in many, many different things. One of them is we want projects to be profitable. So when we're looking at a project and a client asks for a specific breakdown, if we see that there's a way to improve that breakdown, if we see there's a way to make the project financially more viable, we will bring it to the table. So it's part of the experience of having done many, many hotels that we bring to the conversation. And then what we try to do is make things work, make things practical. I think on many occasions when you look at hotel work, and luxury hotel works, it's just a big statement and they don't particularly function very well. I mean, not all of them, but on some occasions. So what we always bring is the beauty, but also the practicality. We need, hotels are functioning machines. They need to work well. As I mentioned before, did I miss any? No, I think I managed to get, no, I forgot New York. So there's all the offices. And then what we do is, it's trying to always employ people that have very different backgrounds, but whose drive is to focus on delivering something that is outstanding, something that is creative, something that is not seen, something that to some extent breaks the mold. I know for many of you here, when you look at a classical interior, you think, well, that's not breaking the mold. But even within a classical interior, you can stretch things, you can stretch proportions, and create something that's really quite interesting. I'm going to run through a series of projects, iconic projects, as I was requested, and then I'm going to touch on all of them built, and then I'm going to touch on one project that we are designing that is literally on the drawing boards right now. So what we have is, we've worked with many of the operators. I would say nearly all of them. Here we have a list of a selection, but you know, we're not set on only the large operators. We set on clients that want something that is outstanding, something that is quite different. We've been very, very lucky to gain awards all over the world, and this is some of the examples of the ones that we received recently. This is just in the last few years. So, designing tomorrow's landmarks. I've got a series of examples here that you'll see that the design direction is completely different from one project to another. So it's not, this is to reinstate that we don't have that style that we cut and paste. We customize things, we create, we listen to the client, and we listen to the brief. So Armani Hotel, as I would imagine most of you have seen or had the chance to visit, is a property, it's the first Armani Hotel. It's within Burj Khalifa in Dubai. And in this project, it was a very close collaboration with Armani himself. He has very set ideas about what he wants to use. And we find that it's a success story, but one where it was quite hard work trying to get things done. So some of the examples of the spaces. Sofitel Downtown is our most recent opening in this part of the world, and it's the opposite to Armani. It's full of color, it's full of life, it's full of different surfaces, different finishes. This opened just this summer in downtown. As you see, it's got the punch of colors which Armani definitely didn't factor in. Conrad Mecca is opened recently as well. It's again, in this case, it's addressing the location, it's addressing the sensibility of the city, and bringing into the equation the local culture, the local patterns, what is really required in a city like Mecca. Some of the rooms and the suites. Park Hyatt Abu Dhabi. Park Hyatt Abu Dhabi is a project that we are incredibly proud of. It turned out beautifully, absolutely beautifully. And it's a very contemporary space, but with a touch of classical, which Park Hyatt requires within the brand. Something that I've not touched on is every time we work with an operator, each operator has this brand standards. Each operator has this sort of their soul, their essence, and you have to respect that when you're designing. Obviously, every time we approach a new project, you try to stretch the boundaries of how far you can take it with the operators, but you always have to design to reflect their identity, what they're after. This is the executive lounge. One and only Royal Mirage, again, an example of, it's probably one of the first projects that we did in the Middle East. It was open over, I think 16 years ago, 15 or 16 years ago. And it's still, to this date, it looks so perfect, so pertinent, so elegant. I think I was talking to Nasser from WATG before, who were the architects for this project, and we were talking about how some of the projects that we've done in the past, because we took a little longer to produce them, because the investment was perhaps a bit more structured, how they have lasted and they're aging a lot better than some of the newer projects. Atlantis the Palm, well, Atlantis the Palm is themed. It's to some extent it's an amusement park where you stay at, and without further ado, it's dreamland. We have sconces on the walls in the shape of shrimps. It's Disneyland in a different setup, really. But it's adored by so many people. I mean, on multiple occasions, I'm in the office and somebody will come over, and this happened just yesterday. And a client asked me, I want my hotel to look like the rooms in Atlantis. I was like, you can't have that in your own home. It's very specific to Atlantis, but I like it. Yeah, but you can't have it. It's so not relevant. So some of the areas, it's a very luxurious space, and it's something that is sort of a one-off exercise. St. Regis Doha, for any of you from Doha, I hope you've had a chance to visit it. This client is lovely. It was an absolute pleasure to work with them. I've had the pleasure of working with the Al-Fardan family in other properties as well. And it's just allowed us to work a scale of project, a scale of spaces that were very, very nice. So we look at the color space over here. The Palace Downtown Dubai, this project, we did the original one. We've just been commissioned to redesign it, so a full refurbishment. And we just, on the process from our Hotelier studio in Paris, doing a new palace downtown, which is opening next to the opera. So, completely different look, where this is more based on sort of the local architecture, the more traditional interiors. The new palace is an incredibly contemporary space. It's a space that you would find, you know, it's very neutral. It's not location related. So that will be announced soon, the visuals for that. Park Hyatt Dubai, it's a project that we did a long time ago. But it's a project that still looks superb. If you have a chance to walk through the lobby, the proportions, how simple it is, and at the same time how successful it is, it always impresses me. One of the things that we have at Wilson Associates is a firm within a firm, to some extent, called Blue Plate. Blue Plate is an F&B team that caters to most of our projects, and they do everything from the branding to the market research to the menu to the interior design, etc. And they were responsible for all the F&B outlets at Park Hyatt. And if you go and see any of those outlets, you'll see, you know, what true quality of F&B design means. That after close to 10 years, they still look so relevant, so contemporary. And this is the project that we have in the drawing board right now. We're doing, well, one of the projects we have in the drawing board. This is an Anantara resort in Ras Al Khaimah. RAC Properties is our client, and we've been working on this for the better part of 5 months, 6 months, and we're just getting the mock-up done and the drawing package. It's a space, Anantara as an operator wanted to emphasize the resort look, wanted to focus on the views of the sea, they didn't want to frame views, they wanted the views to be completely open as you approach the space. So you see very contemporary lines, contemporary furniture, but with a slightly classic twist. It's not minimalist, it's not modern. Doesn't want to move. So here we see some of the areas. We see the hammam, so the spaces, as you see, is a hammam. It has all the requirements of your central slab, your sinks on the side, your seating around the perimeter, but it's been approached in a very contemporary way. How many times have I said contemporary already? I have to stop. So, as you see, it's done in a very creative way. And on the left-hand side, we're seeing, and I can't recall what that area is, one of the areas of the hotel. The all-day dining, so again, very resorty, very light colors, but very rich. This area was done not through Blue Plate, it was done through our in-house F&B designers. So you see that the quality is consistent with both. What Blue Plate brings to the table is that further analysis and further knowledge of the market. So sometimes we work with operators which from day one, they give us an F&B brief and we run with it. And sometimes we work with operators that say, well, can you make suggestions? Can you do some market research? So depending on those different circumstances, we do it in-house or we do Blue Plate, which is in-house but within a different team. Some more areas of the all-day dining, which I think is incredibly successful. It has that resort look, but at the same time, incredibly residential. It's got a very warm feeling to it. One of the presidential suites. And thank you very much for taking the time to listen. Questions? Any questions? I can see that he's behaving. He threatened to ask me rude questions. Thank you very much. Huh? Okay, what we do, it's not up to us, the decision about which contractor gets appointed. On many occasions, we get asked to suggest, and then what we always have on our fee proposals is a very strong setup for post-contract or construction administration. We ask that all the shop drawings go through us, so they need to be stamped and redlined by us. And then we ask that all the finishes, all the samples, if they don't procure who we've specified, that the alternatives go past us. We need to check that it's the same finish, the same quality, before they get approved. That's in regards to sort of prior to manufacturing. As soon as it goes to site, we're just on site. We're on site with very experienced post-contract individuals, and they make sure, if the laborers don't actually have the knowledge, to teach them. So they're the people with a fit-out background that have either been trained as designers and they've gone into that field, or it's something that they're very passionate about. And they teach them. They say, no, you can't do it this way, you have to do it this way. As well, on many occasions when you go to site, the MEP messes up your design. The structure is not where it should be. And what you have to do is have the flexibility to adapt your design while you're on site. So it's being as involved as you possibly can. Obviously, it's a very costly exercise for the client to have you on site all the time, but I think it's an exercise that is a must, because it saves them so much abortive work, so much demolition.
Interesting. Any further questions?
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.